This is the IUX Education Podcast, your shortcut to smarter trading and investing.
Where complex markets become simple. Let's dive in.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. This is where we dig into complex stuff and hopefully pull out some really useful insights for you. And for this particular deep dive, we're really excited to be presenting it in collaboration with IUX Education. They're all about bringing fascinating and honestly, truly applicable knowledge from finance and, well, beyond. Today, we're setting out on a journey, really, to uncover the story of Joe Lewis. Now, Lewis, probably not a name you see splashed everywhere, and honestly, that's kind of the whole point. He started from, really humble beginnings in London's East End, and from there, he quietly, and I mean really quietly, built this incredibly intriguing, sprawling private investment empire. And the absolute heart of this empire, the real core of his whole international portfolio, is something we'll be digging into a lot today. The Tavistock Group investment portfolio. So our mission here is to explore, how did he actually build this thing, this huge, diverse portfolio? What was the mindset, the thinking behind it? And maybe most importantly, what lessons can you actually take away from his, frankly, remarkable journey?
It really is fascinating, isn't it? How someone so discreet, almost like a ghost in the financial world, managed to pull together such a diverse and profoundly influential global presence. His quiet influence, it just ripples out across continents, touching sectors you might not even connect at first. It really says a lot about the power of, focused strategic work that happens behind the scenes.
That's a perfect way to frame it. And to really get a handle on Lewis's trajectory, you kind of have to go right back to the start. Joe Lewis, born 1937, East End, London. Think about that landscape. Post-war, gritty. A world away from the luxury resorts he'd eventually own. And at just 15, he makes this big decision. A familiar one back then, maybe. He left school. Not for university or anything like that, but to jump straight into helping with the family's small cafe business. You wouldn't necessarily peg that as the start for a future billionaire.
No, you wouldn't. It's that classic story, starting right at the bottom. But Lewis clearly wasn't just going to run a local cafe. What you see, even back then, is this raw, almost like instinctual drive. An entrepreneur. He didn't just keep the family business ticking over. He actually transformed it. By the 1970s, that little eatery had grown into this thriving hospitality empire. He adapted, serving tourists, high-end clients, shows an early knack for seeing where the market was going,
Totally. And then, in what seems like classic Joe Lewis style, once he'd built this really solid hospitality business, he didn't just hang on to it forever. He sold it, cashed out, made a massive profit. Now, for most folks, getting that kind of money might mean, okay, time to kick back, right?
Right. Relax a bit.
But this is where the story takes a really audacious turn, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. This is where you see that boldness, that adaptability.
Yeah.
It's quite rare. He takes all that capital, the big profit from selling the hospitality business, and makes this incredibly sharp pivot. Just completely changes direction. Decides to go essentially all in on currency speculation. Becomes a full-time, high-stakes currency trader. Seems like it came out of nowhere, right? From hospitality to currency trading.
Yeah.
But it set the stage for one of his biggest moments.
Which was?
Black Wednesday, 1992. That infamous day when the British pound was under enormous pressure. Lewis. Well, he was another major winner that day. Kind of like George Soros. Famously shorting the British pound.
Right, and for anyone listening who isn't sure, shorting basically means you're betting an asset's value. In this case, the pound is going to drop. It's risky. High risk, high reward.
Definitely.
And Lewis had the conviction, the nerve, to put serious capital behind that bet. That one move on that one single day netted him hundreds of millions of dollars. Can you imagine the pressure, the foresight? It wasn't just the money, though.
No, not at all.
It instantly cemented his reputation, made him this, formidable force in global finance. Seriously.
And it wasn't just luck, right? It was calculated. Showed a deep grasp of macroeconomics, market psychology. But that huge win wasn't the end goal. It was really the catalyst, the fuel for what came next.
Exactly. So, okay, beyond that massive win, what were the sort of core principles guiding Joe Lewis? How did he approach building wealth after that?
The first big thing you see again and again is what we're calling opportunistic thinking. Lewis doesn't seem to chase the latest fad, not jumping on every hot stock tip. He's not scanning headlines thinking, what's the next big thing I can pile into? Instead, he watches patiently, just watches, waits for real market imbalances, those times when assets are just fundamentally undervalued, maybe because of short-term noise or, the current owners lack that long-term view. And then, when he sees it, he acts. But not just tentatively. He strikes with huge conviction and, crucially, with size. He goes big. That's spot on. And that opportunistic mindset ties right into his second, and maybe his most important, strategic pillar. Long-term strategic positioning.
Right.
See, unlike traders looking for quick flips, maybe weeks or months,
Right.
Lewis genuinely thinks in decades, not days, decades. And this long-term view, it's just perfectly reflected in the Tavistock Group investment portfolio. The scale, the diversity, it's incredible. We're talking, what, over 200 investments spread across 15 countries in sectors that are just wildly different. You've got huge real estate developments, major sports teams, cutting-edge biotech, big energy plays. He isn't just buying and selling things in isolation. He's consciously building entire, well, ecosystems.
Building entire ecosystems. That's a really powerful way to describe it. Can you maybe give an example? What does that look like in practice? How's that synergy work?
Sure. So instead of just buying a plot of land to develop, Lewis might also invest in the construction company that builds on it, maybe the development firm managing it, even the hotel chain, or, say, the healthcare provider that will operate there eventually.
Okay, vertical integration.
Exactly. It lets him control more of the value chain, right? Ensure quality, create multiple revenue streams that kind of feed each other. It's like building this self-sustaining web of businesses around a core asset. And critically important for him, he always stresses investing in people. You know, finding those visionary founders, the really capable operators, the strong leadership teams, people who can actually execute that long-term vision. He's backing the human capital just as much as the financial capital.
That focus on people, it really says something. Okay, now this next point of his strategy. His almost obsessive commitment to privacy and discretion. This feels really key to understanding his edge. I mean, Joe Lewis is practically invisible in public life.
He really is.
Rarely gives interviews, actively avoids any kind of spotlight. He just lets the results, these massive multi-billion-dollar results, do all the talking. So what's the advantage there? In a world that seems to reward being out there, being visible, what does an investor gain from being so incredibly discreet?
Yeah, it's totally counterintuitive today, isn't it? Everyone's focused on personal branding, social media.
Right.
Lewis operates in the complete opposite way. The advantages, well, there are quite a few. First, privacy means less public scrutiny. Lets him make bolder, maybe more unconventional moves without constant media noise.
Makes sense.
Second, it often means better deal terms. If you're not in a public bidding war, you can negotiate more quietly, maybe more effectively. And third, it lets you just focus entirely on the business fundamentals, not on managing public perception. It's about the actual work, not the performance. This quiet approach, it gives him a significant edge that others, maybe those constantly seeking attention or validation, they just miss out on.
It's a powerful point, and the results of this quiet, disciplined approach, they really do speak for themselves. The Tavistock Group is, legitimately one of the most successful and diversified private investment portfolios anywhere in the world. And when we say diversified, we mean it across industries, countries, types of assets.
Absolutely. It's proof of that long-term strategic positioning we talked about.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about a few lucky hits here. It's a huge collection of really high-value long-term assets.
Let's give people some solid examples just to get a sense of the scale. You want ambitious. Lewis owns Lake Nona. That's not just some housing development. It's a 17-square-mile smart city in Florida.
Incredible scale.
Yeah, think about that. Building a whole city designed as this hub for health, education, tech. It's community building on a massive scale. Then you've got major stakes in famous names like the Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Shows that global reach into sports entertainment.
Right.
He owns luxury resorts down in the Bahamas, big investments in cutting-edge biotech firms, pushing medical boundaries, and of course, major energy plays, vital stuff.
And what really stands out is not just how vast the portfolio is, but how strategic it all feels.
Yeah.
It's truly global, and it feels fundamentally built to last. He's not chasing fads. He's building value that endures, holding periods measured in, like we said, decades. And while, the public estimates of his net worth usually hover around $5 to $6 billion USD.
Yeah, you see those numbers.
Right, but insiders, people close to the operations, widely believe the actual value of Tavistock's assets could mean his wealth is significantly higher. Which, again, speaks to that discretion, doesn't it? The real value isn't always obvious to the public, and that's by design.
So let's step back a bit. What really sets Lewis apart? Why did he succeed on this scale when others, maybe starting with similar smarts or even more public buzz, didn't quite get there?
I think fundamentally it boils down to one crucial thing: discipline. While so many traders are chasing hype, riding every little wave, reacting frantically to every news blip, Lewis does the opposite. He embodies patience, he waits, sometimes for years, only acting when the odds are genuinely stacked in his favor, making these highly calculated moves, not emotional ones.
Like a sniper, not a machine gunner, as they say.
Exactly like that.
And that discipline, it really connects with his unique adaptability, too. Think about the journey again. Building a hands-on hospitality business, then becoming this elite currency trader, then shifting again to manage this massive, complex global investment portfolio. It's quite a set of transitions.
It really is. It's not just about learning new skills. It's this rare ability to keep reinventing himself, keep expanding his perspective, mastering totally different fields. He doesn't see markets like a casino, just gambling.
Right.
For him, it's more like a complex chessboard, a platform for these super calculated, deeply researched moves, rooted in understanding economics, global politics, and maybe, crucially, human behavior. He consistently sees that bigger picture. Always. He's anticipating, not just reacting.
To the legacy of Joe Lewis, it isn't just about the incredible wealth, is it?
No, I don't think so.
It's about building something truly, deeply powerful, something enduring and quietly impactful. Through the Tavistock Group investment portfolio, Lewis basically showed us you don't need to be the loudest voice or the most public figure to make an absolutely huge, lasting impact. His story teaches some core lessons that feel almost counterintuitive in today's world.
He really is a reminder that true power, the kind that lasts, the kind that builds generational wealth, it often moves silently. It's not about grandstanding or getting fleeting attention. It's about discipline, unwavering vision, and just calm, consistent execution. And these aren't just abstract ideas for billionaires, right? They're actually profoundly practical insights for anyone. Building a career, a business, even just managing personal finances. Thinking long-term, being patient, focusing on a solid process. That applies to almost any goal, big or small.
Absolutely. It's about playing the long game.
The long game.
Joe Lewis, he might not have a trending hashtag. You won't find him doing a masterclass on YouTube about getting rich quick.
Definitely not.
But if you really study his journey, you see this fundamental truth. Some of the most successful traders and investors, they aren't just market wizards focused only on the next trade or chasing the daily P&L.
Right, the profit and loss.
Yeah. They are really, at their core, empire builders. They think way beyond the daily ups and downs. They build vehicles. They build these vast, diversified portfolios. They build legacies that last longer than they do. So here's the thought, maybe, to take away from this deep dive. What would it look like if you approached your own work, your finances, maybe even your personal goals, the way Joe Lewis approached building Tavistock? With that incredible patience, waiting for the right moment, with a clear, solid structure, building things that work together, and with that quiet, relentless focus on the long game, free from all the noise and distraction.
It really is about understanding that sometimes the biggest gains, the most lasting ones, come from those quietest, most strategic moves, patiently executed over time.
Well said. If this deep dive into Joe Lewis and the Tavistock Group investment portfolio got you thinking, please share it with someone else who might find it inspiring. And hey, for more deep dives just like this one full of fascinating stories and practical ideas, make sure you follow us at IUX Education. We've got articles, detailed breakdowns, useful tools, strategies, all designed to help you think bigger, act smarter, and build stronger. Until next time, stay patient, stay disciplined, and stay in the trade.
And this is the IUX Education Podcast, where trading confidence begins.
That's a wrap for today. This episode was brought to you by IUX Trading Platform, your trusted partner for smarter investing.